big. It's what we call a global killer. Nothing would survive, not even bacteria.
The United States government just asked us to save the world. Anybody want to say no?
Think we'll get hazard pay out of this?
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars, welcome to another classic film review. Today I'm taking a look at the 1998 classic science fiction adventure film, Armageddon. The film is directed by Michael Bay and it stars Bruce Willis, Billy Bob Thornton, Ben Affleck, Liv Tyler, Will Patton, Steve Buscemi, William Finchner, Owen Wilson, Michael Clark Duncan, Keith David, Jason Isaacs, and the list goes on. Great cast. Now, this film focuses on an asteroid the size of Texas that is hurtling towards Earth. Earth only has a couple of weeks to come up with a plan, and the plan they come up with involves getting Bruce Willis's character Harry Stamper on board, who is the best driller in the world. NASA brings on him and his crew, spend days training them up to send them into space on a revolutionary new shuttle in order to land on this huge asteroid, drill, drop a nuclear weapon, and come back home. However, in this being a science fiction adventure film, this doesn't exactly go according to plan. Right, what are my thoughts on Armageddon? Well, this probably has become, to a large degree, one of the great guilty pleasures out there. It's one of those films that I remember when this film first came out. I remember I don't remember going to the cinema to see this. In fact, I'm fairly sure I didn't. So the first time I remember watching it was on home video, VHS, I'm sure it was. And I remember watching it, absolutely blown away and loving it, and then rewinding it and watching it immediately again straight after. That's how much I enjoyed it. This film is served up with a heavy dose of cheese, enough cheese for you to drown in, really. It shamelessly pulls on your heartstrings, and it's classic Michael Bay from beginning to end. It's at the time, Michael Bay, when he was as popular as he was in the 90s and the noughties, his directing style was very distinctive, and it kind of fit perfectly for the times. When you watch them now, his style of directing is, I think, dated quite poorly. They're almost like extended music videos. Do you know what I mean? They just, I don't know. They don't. I don't think match like a modern audience, if you like, the way Michael Bay filmed his films. Very Tony Scott-like in his approach, I think. But just, I don't think, not as grounded or gritty as Tony Scott as well. But this is undeniably an entertaining film. And this is, for me, such a lot of fun to watch if you can put aside the cheese in this film, because, oh my God, there is so much of it. It's probably a long time since... I'm trying to think how long it is since I've seen this film. I'd say a decade, maybe. And there are aspects of this film that have dated terribly. The Aerosmith soundtrack. That every film in the 80s and 90s obviously had to have a soundtrack with a famous band sort of thing, and it just doesn't work, I don't think. The cringeworthy love story, and again, my understanding is this film initially wasn't going to have the love story, and then after the success of Titanic, it felt like every film had to have a love story in it. Every disaster film as well had to have a love story in it, so that's why that was kind of written into the film. The drawn-out ending, with, the whole... I'm sorry, guys, I'm going to give spoilers away here, but let's be honest, this film's been out quite a while now, so you'll have to forgive me. The major death at the end of the film, it's just the way they draw all that out and pull on your heartstrings. The absolute cringe fest of dialogue at times, you know, where at the end of the film where William Fincher shakes the hand of Liv Tyler and says, introduces himself and says, I'd like to shake the hand of the daughter of the bravest man I've ever met, and you just think, oh, please. So there is a lot here for you to really chuck rotten vegetables at, but there's also a lot here to enjoy. You know, you get... Do you know, I really enjoyed watching this film, and it feels like a long time since I've been able to do it, because I've reviewed a lot of his films on this channel over the last 5 years or so that have been garbage, is Bruce Willis at his peak. You know, that charm that he's got, that charisma, you know, and he really does carry this film, Bruce Willis, and that was a testament to his star power, because there's a lot of talent here in this film. And Bruce Willis kind of shoulders the whole film, and he does a brilliant job. I also think Billy Bob Thornton lends a lot of credibility to this film. He gives a very impressive performance, even though there are many people who have been in this film who have kind of discredited it, in the sense of should we say they're not very proud of the film, when you've got people like Ben Affleck, even Bruce Willis, who I don't think was really keen. He certainly wasn't keen on Michael Bay. Apparently he never worked with him again. Billy Bob Thornton, even Buscemi, who only did the film for the money and stuff. You know, obviously they're not particularly proud of it, sort of thing, but thankfully they all deliver, in my opinion. I think Billy Bob Thornton might not be proud of this film, but I think he delivers a really nice and interesting and layered character, and he's like the anchor to the film, or like Back on Earth. And I think this film is great fun. The scene where Bruce Willis is reading out the demands of everybody, sort of thing, and they don't want to pay taxes and stuff. I mean, it's a classic moment in the film, and there's so many classic moments, you know, leading up to them taking off. I think essentially where this film loses its way is the actual bit where they get to the asteroid. It feels they forced a lot of the action on there just to give us something to watch, because it was pretty dull. It wasn't interesting to watch a lot of it when they actually got to the asteroid, and it felt like they kind of forced some drama, like, you know, malfunctions with the weapon, and, you know, the drill not working properly, and all this kind of stuff. And it just felt like they missed that opportunity. Now, at the time when this came out, there were two films that came out, I believe, in the same year. It was like, this happened a lot in the 90s. There was this one, Armageddon, and Deep Impact. And I like them both, if I'm going to be honest. Deep Impact, even though it's probably still utter twaddle the way they deal with the situation, feels a more grounded and dramatic approach to telling the story, and it's like a much more human story than this. This is the popcorn, fast food version of telling this story, you know. And this was obviously the more successful of the two. Deep Impact didn't do terribly or anything, but it wasn't certainly as popular as this one. So yeah, I mean, some of the people in this film might be and might still be continuously apologising for it, but it is undeniably a real guilty pleasure for many, myself included. I do have this in my collection. It is a fun film to watch, but it's also full of incredibly cringy moments as well. So it's a proper classic 1990s one, this. So I hope you enjoyed checking out this classic film review for Armageddon. Don't forget to call back on the channel and join me for plenty more reviews and content very, very soon.